Today's date is August 9, 2026. Welcome to the strategic meeting of the Israeli-Palestinian Confederation. We are not having a simulation today. We are having an update on the preparation and the upcoming elections for the first Israeli-Palestinian Confederation government in Israel-Palestine, from the river to the sea. This is our website, ipconfederation.org. The website contains the Constitution for the federal government. For the first democratically hopefully would be elected democracy in Israel-Palestine. The Constitution is available in English, Arabic, and Hebrew. It describes the different parts of the government, how it will be created. The first article is about the legislative branch, which would be 300 parliament members. Second article is about the president and the vice president. The third article is about the judicial branch. All of it would be Palestinians and Israelis together. It has definitions at the end of the third article. It has code of financial limitations for candidates and elected officials, and it contains the ground rules for the founding committee. Like I said, this Constitution is available in 3 languages. If you want to reach me in person, you can send me an email to josephavassar@gmail.com. On August 23rd, we will have a simulation with Raja Khoury and Jeffrey Wilkerson, the authors of The Wall Between: What Jews and Palestinians Don't Want to Know About Each Other. This book exemplifies or examines the historical, emotional, and psychological barriers in Israel-Palestine. Today, we are having a strategic meeting on the federal election implementation. We are going to have the election starting first of all, the registration will be starting in January of 2027. The registration will last a whole year. And then subsequent to that, the election will start in January 2028. This meeting is intended to provide an update on the progress towards establishing a federal government for Israel-Palestine that would create the first democratic government serving the entire area of Israel-Palestine. In other words, from the river to the sea. Based on a secular constitutional system of government, meaning a government that separates between government and religion. Still, Palestinians and Israelis could practice their religion, and religious people could serve in the government. Jews, Christian, and Muslim would be able to serve in the government, except that under the Constitution, the government will not be able to pass legislation to advance religion. This election will implement equal rights to all people, regardless of religion or nationality. In other words, the election will be for everyone from the river to the sea, regardless of what their religion is or what their nationality is. We will be electing a legislative branch with 300 parliament members representing 300 districts. We will also be electing an executive branch with a president and vice president. Whoever gets the most votes will be president. Whoever gets the second number of votes of the other nationality will be vice president. They will rotate after 2 years. In other words, the president will become vice president after 2 years. The vice president will become president after 2 years. By the way, you can stop me at any time to ask questions as we are going through the slides, and we also will have question and answer after the slides is over. But you can stop me at any time if things are not clear. The federal government that we are proposing will coexist with the Israeli and the Palestinian governments. We are not calling to dismantle those governments. We are calling for a federal government to coexist with those governments and, in fact, be in competition with them. This federal government will be the only legitimate government in the entire area of Israel-Palestine, because it would be the only government that permits or allows or gives all people in Israel-Palestine the right to vote. There has never been any government in Israel-Palestine that have given all the Palestinians and all the Israelis the right to vote for the same government. Traditionally, it has been Israelis voting for their government, Palestinians voting for their government, even though the people of Palestine and Israel live together. We are proposing a legitimate government for the entire area, from the river to the sea, based on a constitution that I showed you earlier, based on equality, based on democratic election. We continue, so at this time, we are working with a European election technology company to finalize our agreement. We have made a selection as to what company will be conducting the election. We are meeting with them on a regular basis. There are some issues that still remaining. Most of them are technical issues. We expect to announce the company's identity once an agreement is finalized. At this time, they asked us not to advertise or to disclose the name of the company until we finalize the agreement. We hope to finalize the agreement with this company this month, by the end of August, at which point, hopefully, we will be given the green light to announce the name of the company. We're also interviewing 2 ArcGIC specialists to create the IPC 300 parliamentary district and the map, and to integrate them into the online election portal. I've seen preparation for those maps. They're very exciting. There are, you see a layer of the map with the districts in different colors. Each district will have a name. We're going by the name of the city of that district. The names will be in 3 languages, in English, Arabic, and Hebrew, and people will be able to see their district, and they will be able to find where to what is their applicable districts, and we will be they will also be able to eventually vote in their district. Yeah, hi, Rob. What's your question?
Hi, hi, Joseph. I understand that the the districts are going to be based upon population size to some degree. My question is, how will the population size be determined, particularly in terms of displacement and the difficulty of obtaining that information from the Israeli authorities where necessary?
So we are getting the information on the population from the Israeli and the Palestinian Census Bureau. Uh, with regard to Gaza, mostly, where you have huge displaced um, population. So Gaza has 2.1 million people. They are allocated 41, either 40 or 41 parliament members, because each parliament member is um, will represent 52,000 people. So Gaza will elect 41 um, parliament members. We have other issues in big cities like um, Haifa, like Tel Aviv, Jerusalem. Jerusalem has a population of 750,000 people. We decided not to split Jerusalem into um, areas. Jerusalem, 750,000 people will combine, elect about 15 parliament members. So in Jerusalem, there is a Palestinian population, there is an Israeli population. They could all vote for each other, regardless of nationality. The same with Tel Aviv, the same with Haifa. Um, I think these are the major block areas that will collectively elect the allocated number of parliament members from that block. Did
Thanks.
that answer you?
Yes, it does. Thank you. Just one quick follow-up. Am I right in assuming that there is no inclusion of those who've been displaced outside the borders of Israel-Palestine?
Correct. The only people that would be able to vote are residents and citizens of Israel Palestine. We are not electing an Israeli government or a Palestinian government. We are electing a federal government for the people from the river to the sea. George, you need to unmute.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, good morning. I've been away for a while. I've got a very quick question about these districts, 300 districts. In the context of, we're seeing a lot of gerrymandering in the United States these days. Will there be a local committee once these ridings are created? Will the locals have a chance to comment, at least comment on it, to make sure there no gross mistakes have been made in the delineation of these districts? I think that if that was part of the process, it would make the districts much more acceptable.
Yeah, the issue of gerrymandering is not that profound in that area, because regardless of how many Palestinians will be elected or how many Israelis will be elected, under the Constitution, it requires 55% of the Palestinian parliament members and 55% of the Israeli parliament members, regardless of their actual number. But we are actually making a conscious decision to mix Palestinians and Israelis together in districts as much as possible. And we are hoping that Palestinians will vote for Israelis and Israelis will vote for Palestinians. But also there is the nationwide election where all Palestinians and all Israelis will vote for president and vice president.
But just a quick follow-up. The gist of the question was, have you involved local people to review these? I think that's
Yes. We actually, I'm going to talk about that. We have a we will have an election committee to review the entire process from from the time it's being conceived until the time after the election results are announced, because there will be many issues, including what you raised, the possibility of gerrymandering, etc. But there are going to be a lot of other issues, and we actually will have a committee to deal with issues that come up or will come up during the election, because we have not really done it to that extent before, and we realize issues are going to come up, and they need to be resolved, and we're going to elect an objective board. By objective, I mean they cannot be elected, and they cannot be part of the election, and they don't have a stake in who will be elected.
these will be people with reputations locally.
Yes, these are, by the way, we are aiming of not having Israelis or Palestinians from that area because they have a conflict of interest. So these are people that are participated in the simulations with different points of views. But if I go back to the Constitution, let me go back to the Constitution. You'll see that is being discussed. So the last part of the Constitution is sorry. I'm looking for it. The founding committee. The founder of the organization known as the Israeli-Palestinian Confederation should convene and organize the initial member of the founding committee shall be selected from among individuals who have previously participated in the meetings, conferences, simulations, or other preparatory activities conducted in connection with the electoral process, who do not have a vested interest in the outcome of the elections, and who are not qualified to vote in the election to be elected or appointed to any legislative, executive, judicial, or other office within the Confederation government. They will collectively decide all the issues that are going to come up throughout the election process, including what you mentioned.
Could I ask a last quick question?
Sure. Yeah, go ahead.
As we all know, outside money and dark money is a huge problem in the US. How do you evaluate that for this upcoming election, and what measures do you have in mind to prevent the big money from trying to control all this?
So we also dealt with that in the Constitution. You're talking about, so let me go back to that. Code of Financial Limitations for Candidates and Elected Officials. This code shall apply to basically, it sets a very, very limited amount of money that people can vote for the candidates for parliament and for president, and it all has to be transparent. When I say we're talking about no candidates for parliament, whether already serving in parliament or seeking election in the for the first time, shall receive any gift, donations, contributions, payments, benefits, services, discount, loan, or any other thing of value exceeding the equivalent of 200 shekels from any individual's company, organization, or any other entity. Each individual, company, organization, or entity may provide on. It is very small print, so it's hard for me to. Only one such gift contribution to the same candidate during each elections. No candidate for parliament shall receive in the aggregate more than the equivalent of 5,000 shekels from individuals, companies, organizations, and entities combined during the election cycle. No candidate for parliament shall spend more than the equivalent of 5,000 shekels to promote his or her parliament during any election cycle. No candidate for president or vice president shall receive the aggregate more than the equivalent of 100,000 shekels from all individuals, companies. So for president, you can spend 100,000 shekels. So that you know, a shekel is about $3. So 100,000 shekels is about a little over $30,000. That's all they can spend for running for president. And I think for parliament, the most they can spend is 5,000 shekels, which is like $1,500.
And is there sanctions if they exceed those amounts?
They can be impeached, but
okay.
They have to keep records for 10 years.
Thank you.
I have to go. Violation of this code, including the known failure to disclose required information, the acceptance per.
Okay.
It deals with shall constitute ground for impeachment.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. Alan.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
Thank you very much. I'm glad things are moving along. I have two questions. One on the parliamentary districts. There is one delegate elected from each district, but each of these districts will most likely be of mixed nationality, if we can call Israel or Palestine nationality. So very likely in some areas there will be an Israeli representing the Palestinians in that district, who did not vote for them, or a Palestinian representing the Israelis that they did not vote for. It seems that is going to create some sense of unrepresentation, and at least there needs to be within the district some process of the people of that district having an ongoing location of debate within the district to give direction to the candidate who is elected. It seems that this is building in a problem that somehow will grow because of the lack of full harmony among the people. So that is one question. How is this?
So what's your question? You're making a comment, but what is your question?
Well, how is this situation going to be resolved, or do you see it as not a problem at all? That
Yeah, well, we're dealing with this on almost everything you said, but the idea is that each parliament member represents his or her district. He will be elected by his or her district based on his agenda for that district. He or she will have to solicit votes from his or her district telling them how he's helping their district. Now, you say, well, he's not going to satisfy everyone. True, he's not going to satisfy anyone. I don't see any possibility that we can create an election where everyone is satisfied. In the overall, with 300 parliament members, I think we can reach a consensus on how to move forward, or they will be able to reach a consensus on how to move forward. What's your next question?
Well, it seems that it may be that there should be a Palestinian and an Israeli elected from each district. But so that will greatly increase the size. So my other question is, as I have raised before, that to represent Israel and Palestine from the river to the sea, there's also many Israelis and many Palestinians who are not resident within that area for various reasons. It seems to me that there should be an advisory council also created of Israelis in diaspora and Palestinians in diaspora that could be not determinative, but advisory on questions that come before the parliament. And the exclusion of non-resident citizens or people who consider themselves citizens of the state of the Jewish people or the Palestinian reality, many of whom are illegally in exile. Those people need in some way to be recognized, and the addition of advisory councils of maybe 10 or some number of people of each nationality would be an improvement of the situation.
Well, this is a federal government for the people of Palestine and Israel. Okay? It is based on a constitution. It's not going to be based on advisory councils from people around the world. The Israeli government and the Palestinian government, they represent, or they say they represent, people from around the world. This is a federal government elected based that accepts a constitution. The constitution will be accepted by all of them, and they will be required to make decisions based on their own issues, their own observations. It doesn't mean that they cannot get advice from people around the world, but they will have to act within the Constitution.
Well, I'm suggesting there be an addition to the Constitution to recognize advisory councils that can help in that process, because both peoples do have extensive diaspora that are functional in some overall sense and should be recognized. And anyhow, that's
okay.
my two comments.
All right. Why 300 districts? We are proposing a parliament consisting of 300 members of parliament, each representing a district approximately of 52,000 people. This structure is designed to strengthen democracy, improve representation, and encourage cooperation throughout Israel and Palestine. Libby, would you be so kind as to read the benefits of 300 districts? Libby? The benefits of 300 districts.
Okay, got it. I was muted. Sorry.
Okay.
Number one, closer representation. Each member of parliament would represent a relatively small constituency, making it easier to remain accessible, understand local concerns, and respond to the needs of the people. Two, greater accountability. Constituents would have stronger connection with their elected representative and a greater ability to hold that representative accountable. And three, a more democratic parliament. By distributing legislative authority among 300 representatives rather than a smaller number, political power is shared more broadly and concentrated in fewer hands. 4, protection against undue influence. Because no single member of parliament would hold excessive influence, it becomes more difficult for political, economic, or special interest groups to exert undue pressure on individual legislators. 5, it encourages Israeli-Palestinian cooperation. Effective legislation would require representatives from different communities to work together, build coalitions, negotiate, and reach consensus rather than relying on a small number of political leaders. And 6, improved responsiveness to local communities. Smaller districts allowing members of parliament to better understand the unique concerns of their constituents while remaining focused on the broader interests of the Federation. And 7, flexibility for future population changes. As populations grow or shift over time, district boundaries can be adjusted more precisely to preserve substantially equal representation without disrupting the overall structure of Parliament. And 8, greater public participation. Smaller districts make it more practical for community leaders and ordinary citizens to seek elected office, broadening participation in the democratic process and bringing parliament closer to the people.
All right, so this is the reason why we chose 300 districts. If you have any questions on that, raise your hand. So this is the anticipated timeline. We anticipate that the election portal will be operational by the end of December 2026. So we are now on August 9. In August 9, we hope to finish the agreement with the portal company and with the mapping individuals by the end of August. Voters and candidates will start registering from January to December of 2027. This will be a whole year of registration. The election will start on January 1st and will end on March 30th, 2028. That would be 3 months of election. And hopefully in April 2028, the federal government will be sworn in, 300 parliament members, and a president and vice president. So we are speaking about a year and 7 months until the government will be sworn in, a year and 7 months from now. The election company will provide an integrated online election platform that includes voter registration, candidate registration, and online voting. To ensure the integrity of the election process, the platform uses advanced biometric identity verification that authenticate official identity documents and matches them with live facial image. The system supports Israeli and Palestinian identity documents, maintains a complete audit trail, and incorporates multiple anti-fraud measures to protect against identity theft, document tampering, and other forms of election fraud. In other words, Palestinians and Israelis will upload their identity card. The election company is familiar with what is the identity cards, what is a genuine identity card and what is not, and a person will have to upload his picture and his identity card. Yeah, Nancy, hi.
Hi, good to see you. So this may be a very naive question. This is the first time I've come to one of the election conversations. So my question is, what makes this something other than a simulation, just like the simulations that you already run? In other words, what gives this election legitimacy?
The legitimacy would come from the voters. Just like any other democracy. The only difference is that this would be an election for all the people in Palestine and in Israel who will register to vote, who are given an opportunity to register and to vote, and to accept, for the candidate to accept a common constitution. And once the parliament members are elected, they become legitimate representative of the district. Once a president and vice president are elected, they become, by virtue of the power given to them by the people. The people are the people of Palestine and Israel. The same way the government of Israel was created.
Okay, follow-up question. I get the idea. So the follow-up question is, what happens the day after? In other words, what is the relationship between this body, which is would be literally created from scratch, right? Created from scratch. It's not an outgrowth of the current governing systems of the people we're describing. It's its own thing. So the day after, what is the relationship between the results of this election and the current leadership of Israel and Palestine? I mean, the relationship is it's spelled out in your work, right? It's spelled out very clearly in your work. What gives it legitimacy for the governments of Israel and Palestine proper? Thanks.
The relationship is that of competition. Okay. I believe that it really all depends on the number of people that will participate. If the number of people is very low, then it would be very difficult for the federal government to claim legitimacy. But if the numbers are very high, what makes any democratic government legitimate? You know, in the US, you have total of a third of the population voting for both parties or three parties or four parties. what is there is no formula for legitimacy. It's not like, okay, you reached legitimacy is really a psychological state of mind. Whether whether the public accepts it as legitimate or not. And in my opinion, if we have a large number of voters, if the election are verified as true, honest, fair elections that have not been tampered with, and there is a large number of people voting, then it has a strong potential of claiming legitimacy. That's why one of the criteria is to have a reputable election company conduct the election. We went through several election companies. This election company is very reputable. It doesn't really matter to who will be elected. They have great technology. In my opinion, the honesty of this election will be far greater because we have records. They will have records. Now, once the registrations start, we will be in contact with election monitors, such as the Carter Institute, that we have already been in touch with them. The Carter Institute, they're very interested. They didn't commit to it. This is all work in progress. Once they see that people are becoming candidates, and once they see that there is, in my opinion, they will agree to be monitors of the election. Yeah, Alan.
Yes, the question that coming into my mind is, how is the financing? If there's going to be this participation, it has to have a lot of promotion. The election company is going to take a lot of resources. What is the way of self-financing and the perspective in the next year and a half to have this actually become functional enough that it actually gets to the people in form that they can say, well, this is real, I can participate in this.
Yeah, good question.
Is this question premature? Or are you getting
No, your question is right on point. About 4 months ago, we received a donation for $100,000, and the person said, I believe in this concept. Can you start working on this? And we were encouraged by it. We started working on it. We made some announcement. And as of August 4th, we discovered that we received another $31,000 from people from all over the world. Actually, we received more, but we had some spending. We spent some money for the Zoom, for MailChimp, and all of that. We don't take any salaries. None of us take any salaries. We received $31,000 just from the limited exposure that we have. But you're right. This is going to be in several millions. And hopefully people will be encouraged. I think that we will start getting substantial donations once the platform is ready, which will be in January of next year. And once we see candidates signing up, then it would look more real. Yeah, Rob.
Thank you.
Yes, thanks. Good questions, and I have some follow-ups on those. The first is in regard to the election monitoring, and you mentioned the Carter Institute, so that's great. That is absolutely essential. But it occurs to me that this must not just monitor the election itself. It's going to have to monitor all the preamble and all the preparation. So ideally, such an organization should be involved from this December, when things start to kick off in reality.
Yeah.
Otherwise, there will be arguments that no, well, the whole thing was mismanaged from the start. So that's my first comment.
Yeah. Let me respond to that.
Yeah.
We did contact the Carter Institute 6 months ago. No, not 4 months ago. When this thing became more real, and they asked to read the Constitution. And we send them the Constitution, we send them the plan, and they said, well, it sounds very interesting, but we would like to we would reserve judgment until it becomes more real. Look, if we had our druthers, we would have millions of dollars. We will have everything lined up and everything ready to go 3 years ago. But this is work in progress.
Okay, good. My second question is a follow-up from Nancy's question on legitimacy. You covered legitimacy from the election itself and the people, and legitimacy essentially created by the results of the election. What are we doing, if anything, in terms of any of third parties, and if I can do it in inverted commas, allowing this whole process to go ahead? Either Israel, Palestine, or third-party international countries who have an interest, vested interest in the area. If they see the IPC initiating something like this, are we discussing and making sure that we don't get stopped at the outset, that we have no right, no legal right or moral right or whatever to be undertaking this whole effort?
Are you saying that this thing can be blocked? Is that your concern, or are you concerned that we don't have a government that is behind this?
The first. So it's more that it could be blocked, essentially either from within Israel, Palestine, or be blocked from outside. I mean, we're all aware of what the Peace Council is trying to do, and various other initiatives, and these are going to carry on. And are we going to come up against this type of blockage?
I don't know. We had a technical meeting with this company, and we brought some technical people that know more about the internet and this was the first question that we asked this company. They have conducted over 7,000 elections. They assured us that the platform will be as secure as credit card companies. And we believe that even if it is blocked, it will be blocked for few hours, maybe few days, but not a whole year, and not 3 months of the election.
I'm wondering whether we shouldn't be thinking about a strategy in this regard, in terms of publicizing and that this is not just a sudden thing. Oh, who's this independent party who's suddenly decided that they're going to run an election without it being requested from within the country. So at least we have some sort of awareness that this is happening.
Yeah, we are doing this all the time. It's not being taken seriously, but we are, you know, in 2012, we ran a similar situation, similar election. We put a full page ad in the New York Times, and it was ignored.
Yeah, I remember.
So again, if we had millions of dollars, we are working with the limited abilities that we have. So this is what we have. It's not that we are not spending the money that we have. We're trying to spend it as wisely as possible. Nancy, hi.
Hi. Yeah, so to follow up on this last conversation, you're right that having limited funds does limit the kind of strategizing you can do in terms of employing people to work with you. But what I wonder is, it's possible to create a tremendous amount of publicity for no money if you use social media to do it in ways that are savvy and that people will pick up on. So one of the huge benefits of having this very long timeline to have people register to vote and then to choose who the candidates are and then to have voting open, not just for one day, but for 3 months. I mean, it's a really great to have all this time to publicize this. But it strikes me that one thing that would be very useful is to have a volunteer, hopefully, and maybe you could reach out to to your networks of people who are on your mailing list, people who can use social media to publicize this. Because as you know, because you and I have talked about this, I think this is a hugely important story that very few people know about, but it's not hard to get lots of people to know about something nowadays if you know how to use social media, which I do not. So this is something to really consider given the strengths of the long timeline that you have and the very carefully constructed method that this whole scheme has going for it. And I just have one other thing to say. It's going to be very important to have a one-page, very simply written, clear explanation of what this is, because most people are not going to read the fine print. And I've read all the fine print, and it's important and creative and brilliant and has so many great things about it. But in order to have popular interest, it needs to be digestible. So those are just a couple of suggestions. And I'm good at creating digestible prose.
Do
So
it.
just putting that out there.
All right, let me go on. Okay, after evaluating several election technology providers, we selected the election company because of its extensive experience, advanced election platform, and strong commitment to election security and transparency. Throughout our discussions, the company has been professional, responsive, and willing to adapt its technology to meet the IPC's unique requirements. Based on our evaluation to date, we believe the election company is well qualified to help conduct a secure, transparent, and credible election process. GIS mapping. That's immensely important. I saw the GIS mapping that one of those experts prepared on. It's amazing. A geographic. So you look at the map, and you look at the district, but then you can also see you can see a satellite image of that district. So we saw satellite image of central Israel, of Tel Aviv, of Gaza. It's really mind-boggling. A geographic information system, GIS, will play a central role in the administration of the Israeli-Palestinian Confederation election. The GIS platform will create the IPC's 300 parliamentary electoral district across Israel, the West Bank, and Gaza, based on substantially equal population while respecting the IPC election principle. The interactive map will allow voters, candidates, observers, and election officials to identify parliamentary districts, search for locations, and access election-related information. Fully integrated with the IPC's online election portal, the GIS platform will assign voters to the appropriate district based on their place of residence, supports candidate registration, and provide transparent public information throughout the election process. So if you can think about when you watch the elections, during the you watch CNN or Fox, whatever you watch, and they show you a map of the districts, we're going to do the exact same thing, and people will be able to click on the map and find out what their district, and they'll find out who the candidates are. And at the end of the election, they will see who was elected in each district. Anna, I don't know if you're raising your hand or you have a question. Let me know and just unmute. In order to be a voter, a person must be at least 18 years old and citizens of resident of Israel or Palestine. In order to be a candidate for parliament, a person must be at least 21 years old and have been citizens and resident of Israel and Palestine for at least 180 days. And candidates for president and vice president must be at least 35 years old and have been citizens and residents for Israel or Palestine for at least 180 days. A live public dashboard will display all registered candidates. This is throughout the year of the registration, by district, and for the presidency throughout the registration and election period. After the election concludes, the dashboard will publish the full results, including elected parliament members, the president and vice president. So the dashboard is the exact same thing that we see on television when we watch elections during the election day and the election results. It would be the exact same thing on the website. So we will have implementation. Yeah, hi, Alan, go ahead.
What does it require to become a candidate? You simply sign up? Do you have to get a petition of so many people to support you? Anyone can be a candidate who just desires to put their name out there?
In order to be a candidate for parliament, you have to be 21 years old and a citizen and resident of Israel and Palestine for at least 180 days. You do not have to be nominated. And for president, you have to be 35 years old and a citizen and resident of Palestine or Israel for at least 180 days. So we will have the implementation of the platform for the next 4 months, really, until January of 2027. Yeah, hi, George. Go ahead.
Yeah, Joseph, just about the point we just talked about. I believe you're going to have to put up some barriers to, it's too easy to become a candidate. People who want to sabotage this election will just put up, just for example, 100 candidates in the same district. You got to have some barriers, such as, like Alan was saying, a minimum number of persons inside the district signing your candidacy papers.
Yeah, so in order, we'll go through the requirements to be candidate, but this is going to be part of the responsibility of the election committee. If they see an attempt to sabotage the election, or people running not in the spirit of the election, as a committee, we will vote whether what to do with this candidates. But
It's
we
better
do
to
not
have-
want to limit the number of candidates. We want to have as many candidates, because the candidates they have the right to put themselves as candidates, and they also bring voters.
I think this is going to bite you if you don't put some barriers up. Anyway,
Okay, so implementation will last 4 months for the platform. Voter registration is the green line. So people will be able to register for a period of 15 months. During the election, people will be able to register as well. So they'll be able to register from January of 2027 until March of 2028, a period of 15 months. And the candidate registration will be 12 months, from January 2027 until December of 2020, until the end of 2027. And then the online voting period will be 3 months, from January 2028 until March 30th of 2028. The portal shall provide several features that enables continuous communication between the IPC voters and candidates, including the ability to contact specific segments of voters and candidates. Such communities may include, for example, outreach to voters within districts, voters who have not yet voted, or candidates' participation in specific district or electoral races. In other words, we will be able to contact the voters and the on an ongoing basis to encourage them to vote and for their parliament members. The founding committee, this is what we spoke about. They will approve the 300 electoral district before the first election. They will set up the time, place, and method for the first election. They will determine how, when, and when the first parliament convenes after the election, establish the initial legislative procedure and voting system after the election, enter into and manage pre-constitutional obligations, decide whether to extend or election period if needed. So, for example, let's say certain candidates or certain district does not meet the threshold, they will have the authority to extend the election period for a specific district or nationwide. It provides for runoff election between leading candidates. So these are some of the duties of the founding committees. Each candidate will have to accept the Constitution and other provisions. He or she will have to say, I have read the Constitution of the Israeli-Palestinian Confederation. I accept the Israeli-Palestinian Confederation Constitution. I do not belong to any other government or military organization. I am willing to publicly declare that I will relinquish all allegiance, oath, or loyalty to any government, military, or political organization other than the Israeli-Palestinian Confederation. I recognize Israelis and Palestinians as equal people. I am committed to the separation of religion and government within the Confederation. My purpose in joining the Confederation government is to help build a just, effective, and representative government for both Israel and Palestine, one founded on equality, dignity, peace, security, and justice for all the people living on the land while advancing coexistence and better future for future generations. They will have to check each one of those paragraphs or lines when they register to become parliament or president. A voter would not need to sign up all this. The voter does not have to. Only the candidates will have to sign on all these requirements. Upon conclusion of the election, results for 300 districts and presidents will be published on the public dashboard. Each parliament member, the president and vice president will be announced immediately. The vice president will be the presidential candidate who received the second highest number of votes from the other nationality of the winning president. In other words, no one is running for vice president. Everyone is running for president. Whoever gets the most votes will be president. Whoever gets the second number of votes of this other nationality will be vice president. Libby, would you be so kind as to read the milestones, the upcoming milestones?
All right. Establish the 300 electoral districts. Final financial arrangement with the election company. Formation of the founding committee. Announce the full election timeline, portal development, voter registration, candidate registration, and election period. Secure funding for the project on an ongoing basis. Work closely with the election company to ensure full adherence to the Constitution. Launch the election portal and announce the opening of voter and candidate registration. Conduct outreach in Israel and Palestine to encourage participation from voters and candidates. Engage with media continuously throughout the process. Announce the start of elections 12 months after the portal launch. Announce the election results 15 months after the portal launch, and swear elected candidates into office.
So these are the milestones that are upcoming.
Could I just add one thought just to confirm? I forget who it was who said how important social media is. If we can,
Was Nancy.
everybody can talk about all of this so that more people are awake and aware and getting excited about it, it's going to really help a lot.
Look, one article in the New York Times about it will make a big change. One discussion about it on NPR will make a big change. It doesn't have to be in American, it can also be in Israel, Palestine. And I think that once we have candidates running, they will have no choice but to start looking into this. Especially when the number of candidates will grow. Especially, in my opinion, after the Israeli election and the Palestinian elections. They're both going to have elections this year. All right. Does anyone have any questions? Oh, I forgot one more. Let me do. Yeah, hi, Heather.
Hi, Joseph. How are you? I this just occurred to me. There were two things. A few slides back, I was just curious. You had something on candidates renounce only having loyalty to the IPC, including do not belong to any other government or military, relinquish allegiance oath to any other government, military, blah, 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 is not including their own country, like, or Israel, if they're Israeli, then to Israel, and then if they're Palestinian, to Palestine. Or
It does include their own country, especially their own country.
okay, I've been out of the loop for a while. So if they're a candidate for the IPC, as long as they're serving on the IPC, they're relinquishing their allegiance to their own country.
Not to their own country, to their own government, to a military or political organization.
Okay.
They're still citizens of their country. They still can be loyal to their country, but they are basically acknowledging that do not have a conflict of interest with other organizations, military or governmental organization.
Gotcha. Secondly, and I'm sure this is, excuse me, been raised in past, but just to review, if the IPC is setting forth these milestones and setting up this voting, and of course you've adhered to strict principles so that it's not outside influence. This is intended, and you're adhering to principles in order for it to be for Israelis and Palestinians to vote in a way with integrity. But just legally speaking, has anyone looked at whether or not this could constitute any type of violation of law or international law in terms of setting it up, even though I'm not saying in principle it does, but just legally speaking?
We are not aware of any laws in either Israel or Palestine prohibiting the people of Israel and Palestine to create their own government. Where there are laws against subversive organizations that are trying to undermine the existing government. We are not trying to undermine the existing governments. We are creating a separate, independent government for the people of Palestine and Israel together. So no one was able to ever show us any legal authority that make the creation of a federal government in Israel, Palestine unlawful.
Or the assistance to do that.
The assistance?
Well, being that this forum is an outside party assisting to that end.
Yeah. There is no law that we've been doing this for 25 years. And we had many people in our simulations. I met with a lot of Palestinians and Israelis, a lot of lawmakers. They are looking for every excuse under the sun why this is not a good idea, why they oppose it. They have never been able to establish any, and think about it. they really never thought about this. They never thought about legislating this, and it does not contradict their ideology.
Thank you.
One more slide before I go to George. As of August 4th, so about 5 days ago, we have raised $131,000 towards the first IPC elections. We are a tax-exempt 501c3 organization, and this is our website for donation. George.
Just very quick, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, just very quickly, Joseph, thank you. On the day after the election, does this parliament have a place to meet, microphones, record keeping, computers, resources, financial resources to set up ministries? How will that question be solved?
It will be solved by the government that has been elected. It all depends on the magnitude of the election. This is all technical issues. There are countries around the world that conduct part or all of, I'm not sure if there is a single government that conducts all of its affairs online. I know the government of Estonia does, but this would be a federal government that would have to decide all of those issues. The president, someone who is running for president, hopefully will be able to bring funding from all over the world. It all depends on the number of voters that will participate in the election. If we have few voters, in my opinion, they're not going to have any political or economic power. But if we have substantial number of voters, all of these issues will be minimal. The issues of computers, the issues of financing, all of these will be resolved very, very easily. Yeah, Rob.
Yeah, if he's still on the call, I would be interested to hear from Mark Levy. He's put some fairly strong views and interesting views on the chat. If Mark's there, I'd love to hear more from you.
What did he put? I didn't see.
So effectively, he to summarize is the ownership by people. And I think we've discussed that in the call, so that it's not just a proposal and it's not just a third party coming in. I take all your points about the result is from the elections themselves, the participation. We've spoken about social media. We've spoken at length about various things, but I'm just wondering whether Mark has any more ideas or thoughts on the matter. Apparently he left.
Or if I look at the chat, I'll see is he the gentleman that is on social media a lot? Because I get confused. And it's a common name. I think he's British. And I think he was
So his point is aimed at the Constitution.
Here I'm reading out loud. I'll read out loud. This is focused upon the what, in quote. Yet constitutions to be successful need to be developed and written by the people who will be governed, not by an outside organization that imposes it upon the people. The ideas are great as a start. The ideas are great as a start. The challenges now are how to engage the local people in discussing and ultimately join approving their national. No election would have any validity, nor would elected. Thanks for hosting, but clearly there is no sincere interest in our input. I don't know who exactly he is, if it's the same person I am thinking.
I don't
And I'm
think
not.
it is, Joseph. I don't think it is the person you're thinking about, who's from the UK, who's pro-Palestinian, Jewish. He's called Daniel Levy. Now belongs to some American Institute for Peace. He's wonderful. He's very, very good. I think that's the man you're thinking about, and he's called Daniel Levy. Do you
Okay,
get
it
me?
says here Mark Levy.
Exactly. So it's not the same person.
It's not the same person.
It's not the same person. Okay.
Look, there are many, many skeptics and many reasons for skepticism. And you can come up with many reasons against the Constitution. But I rarely see anyone who read the Constitution and disagree with it. I had people say, well, it should not be written by someone outside. Why not? If the people, I mean, we accept F-35 from people from the outside. We accept ammunition from people from the outside. We accept medicine from people on the outside. The outside is practically so engaged in Israel-Palestine. And then when it comes to peace, they want to limit to the people from Israel-Palestine without really an explanation of their opposition to the Constitution.
May I respond, Joseph? I
Yes.
don't want to sound like I'm supporting Mark in any way. I'm not trying to talk on his behalf. But apart from his last sentence there, I think the points that he's raising here don't contradict what you've just said. I think he's saying that we've actually put together a really good constitution, good ideas, but getting a sense of ownership by the local population is important, and I don't think we can deny that.
Oh, I agree.
So I think
I
he's
agree.
not saying that the Constitution's bad. He's just saying we must make sure that it's not rejected based upon were we involved type of arguments rather than on the content. And
I agree. And
I think that's valid.
We have been doing this for 25 years.
Mm. We
met with dozens and dozens of Palestinians and Israelis, including intellectuals. It's not like us, we haven't done so.
Mm.
I mean, we've done over 130 simulations. So this is a person that is really not aware of what we have done in the past. I don't know if he participated in any of the simulations or but we have done this for 25 years. And I think that it makes more sense for people who have experience with federal government to suggest federal government. Just because we have the experience and we have the know-how. We went through this. So rather than dealing with the substance, they are attacking us on the location of where we live. But you don't see any criticism of dozens and dozens of organizations, dozens and dozens of billionaires and millionaires who spend billions of dollars from all over the world to create more wars in Israel, Palestine. But when it comes to peace, it's legitimate to attack the location of the people who are sponsoring this. Yeah, Alan.
Well, marvelous work over 25 years. And this is the Constitution that allows the government to be established. Once established, it has the right to evaluate the Constitution and to modify it if there's more things that have to be added and so forth. Well, it becomes a product of the property of the people once they elect it. So I think
I agree.
Mark Levy raises an important question, but the question is resolved once the government is there, and it can then become the owner of the Constitution and can improve it if it needs improvement.
I totally agree. George.
Joseph, I'm sorry. I've been trying to, I've been participating for at least a year, maybe more, off and on. And I'm fully in agreement with this person, Mr. Levy, and I've been trying to tell you this. I think you are in deep denial. This project, unless you hand it over to local people, doesn't mean you have to be out of it, but you have to hand it to local people, both Palestinians and Israelis, with reputations, people who electors will trust. You must hand it over. They must take ownership of this project. This cannot remain mainly your project. It'll fail.
Okay.
It'll fail for sure.
And what if they do not ask to take over?
You have to find, if you can't find people who will not take over, this project will fail. It cannot.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
So there isn't a single entity, single organization that approached us and said, we would like to take over, and we refused. Not a single one.
You have to be proactive.
We are proactive. We are
go out and
proactive. Have you seen
find reputable people? And if you can't find reputable people who will get on board, I think this project is at risk.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay. If you look at our website, you will see reputable people who support this this formula for peace. Okay.
Support is not enough. They have to take possession of this project and run with it.
Okay.
And run with it.
Okay. So they have not asked to do so. And we are attempting to contact as many people. Not a single one have asked to take over. So what are we supposed to do? Just wait until they continue to harass each other and unalive each other. You see, you're not really objecting to the substance of this federal government. You're objecting to the mechanism of how it would be created. But you are not offering an alternative mechanism.
Joseph, I just said you got to hand it over to local people, and they have to actively run with it. The foreign component has to be reduced to less and less. That's the alternative. listen,
these are just words. Which people? Which people? You said you're participating for a year. Have you come up with a single person? Have you ever come up with a request to turn it over to a single person? Have we ever refused a single person? In the whole year, we have been doing this simulation for over 6 or 7 years. Not a single person came and said, we would like to take it over. So just to come with a criticism in a vacuum is not fair. It's not just. And it's not encouraging.
Joseph, you've done a great job. A lot of respect from me.
I'm not looking for compliments.
And
I'm
I know.
looking for real, honest discussion, not just in a vacuum. Come in and say, turn it over to whom? Give me a single name that wants to take it over. You have done it for a whole year.
I know no one in Israel, Joseph. I have no contacts there.
All right.
Mhm.
So
if I had,
this is just a criticism in a hypothetical. It's not a real criticism. Let's go to Maxim.
Actually, I just had one thing to point out in the exchange you're having with George. At what stage? Because I don't suspect, Joseph, you want to be, if voting occurs and the parliament is put in place, I don't suspect that you're still going to want to be Mr. I'm the IPC guy. I mean, the point is at what stage. So just wanted to point that out.
Look, I'm not making money from this. It's not like it's my business. I don't really understand why, when we are in the process of hiring a company and we are in the process of having an election, George, with all due respect, after a year, you say, well, turn it over to someone else. Okay, I'm willing to do it. To whom? Maxim. You need to unmute. You need to unmute, Maxim. Maxim Roach, we can't hear you. You need to unmute. Go to the left side of your computer or your phone and unmute. Alan, go ahead.
Yeah, well, on the question to whom, I've watched many of your simulations, and there are amazing discussions, and there are many people who have said they support this and this and this in different ways. I think you could invite all the people who have been in your simulation, who have supported this notion of a confederation with their wide range of knowledge and locations, to join an advisory council to help in the development of this, to be part of the ongoing conversation, and to recognize there and invite them into a continuing participation, even though they are not citizens and actual voting members for the most part. You have a great arrangement of competence and brilliance that have helped in the development of this. This would be a good time, as it is coming to fruition, to ask all those people to join an advisory council to help as it is developing for whatever ways they might do so. Not to forget all the people who have been in your simulations who have said, brilliant things in how you have developed this, but to make use of them and to invite them into the continuing process. And that would also demonstrate to the world the wide degree of participation and creative intelligence that have gone into the supporting of this, besides the actual Constitution. So I encourage
we're actually doing just that. If you saw one of the slides, we're talking about the founding committee. We are actually doing that. Maxim, you want to talk? you need to unmute.
Yes, I think it's a good thing to retrieve these territories in one part, because the media focus on this conflict between until 20 years, and that was not good for Israeli and Palestinian people, that the media focus on this conflict, and I hope. But in this solution, the media still not focus on this conflict. And
On the solution of this conflict, yes.
yes, I think it's a good solution. I'm agree. I'm agree.
Thank you so much.
I hope the media will stop this focus. Thanks.
I agree.
That's just my opinion.
All right. Thank you so much. Where are you? What country are you in?
French.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
French.
All right. If anyone else has any more comments or questions, otherwise, we'll see you in the next simulation, and we will have more updates on the election. Anyone else wants to say anything? Thank you, Alan. Thank you, George. Thank you, everyone. And thank you, Libby. Libby, you have a question?
No, I just want to add, I've been participating in this for a number of years, and I've seen positive and negative responses, but I think it's an amazing opportunity right now to take a step forward. I really do. Things are such a mess in Israel, and people are killing each other. If ever there was a time this was needed, in my opinion, now is the time. And the reason people don't step forward and take on the job is they're already just so overwhelmed with daily survival. I think our outside support is so important to the people who are suffering right now, and they need inspiration, and they need to know that somebody outside of Israel and Palestine, from the river to the sea, has support and that they are being cared for. And the other thing I would say is a lot of people over the years since I've been participating have come and gone. And I think for many, they lose patience because for each time we meet, sometimes it feels repetitive. That being said, it's taken that kind of patience. And Joseph, how you've done it 25 years is unbelievable. But I agree that you've had people from the left, the right, the center, people nationally, internationally have come onto this and given their opinions. So you have opened it up to anybody who is the least bit interested in this to take part and to participate. So to reach back out now and say, the time has come, we're going to ice the cake. Please come back again. You know what we've been about. Now we need your support financially, spiritually, emotionally. So let's not give up now, because I think now's the time when a new approach to how to help the Palestinians and the Jews live together. This is it. We don't want to lose this opportunity by saying, oh, it's not going to work. People know that we're for them and we want to be supportive, and they will be happy to take the reins when they feel that they can do so. That's my opinion.
Thank you so much, Libby. Sean, you always wait until the last minute.
Well, I don't know. I try to find the best question. Look, Joseph, if this movement we have is going forward, and you're going through this process, hopefully it will succeed. But one of my questions is, what happened if this thing fails? Is there a fallback option you could do in case something fails, and you could try to recuperate, reinvent, like any failback option? If there's anything that failed, that you have another solution to fix if this first movement doesn't work. Yeah.
What would you consider failure?
Well, if nobody want to go further with the IPC, if nobody finds it interesting and you're not getting
You mean if zero people run for parliament, if zero people
yes,
vote?
yes, if that happens, do you have a fallback option, sorry.
I do not.
Okay, that's my question.
Okay, Heather?
Yeah, Joseph, have you in past had anyone with the credentials or appropriate expertise look into similar examples of any other outside entities or governments helping in any type of extenuating circumstance to assist another sovereign entity or country in getting on their feet in special circumstance? I mean, there's just got to be plenty of examples like that when the situation is such that a sovereign entity or a place is just so mangled and it needs the assistance from outside, whether it's the UN or some other entity that assists it, because, I mean, there's international cooperation and assistance all the time. There's got to be some type of a list of similar precedents somehow.
So why is it that they have not done it after 78 years?
No, I'm saying just in order to address the questions that come up from people about this forum, in thinking that, oh, there's no way it could work if it's not done by the Israelis and the Palestinians themselves. I mean, I think probably under normal, well, just as a matter of course, throughout history, there's likely always been assistance from outside entities under special circumstances to assist sovereign localities in getting up on their own footing. I mean, for instance, even Israel was created with outside assistance. It was done by outside entities because Israel hadn't yet been created. So, but there, I just imagine
Yeah.
that a historian or someone who has the right academic background would easily be able to point to many circumstances that could show the legitimacy of what you're doing.
Well, actually, one of our board member, I forgot his name. When we had the first convention at UCLA 25 years ago, he is a professor from, let me share, because I'm embarrassed that I don't remember his name, but we have, let me share the screen and I'll go to our website. I'm looking for About Us. Dr. Salim Ali. Dr. Salim Ali came in 25 years ago. He is a distinguished professor of, at the University of Delaware. He has credentials. He was the only person that came in to the convention at UCLA 25 years ago with a laptop. And he basically demonstrated how this federal government, and you have to understand, 25, there was unanimous skepticism and objection to this. And he was the only one who came in with a laptop and explained why this is why the IPC makes so much sense and why it has other possibilities from other examples that he gave around the world. And he's a strong supporter. He sends me regular emails in support because he strongly support this. But look, let me tell you, one of the biggest sins of
I'm sorry to interrupt, but Maxime, could you mute yourself because there's some background noise? Merci beaucoup.
One of the sins of this conflict of Israel-Palestine is that, trying to see how I can explain that, it removes any vision for peace, any vision for any imagination in Israel-Palestine. There is, because it is so deep and it created a narcissistic Israeli society. It created a cult Israeli society that it has no, in my opinion, no ability to envision anything outside the cult. So to go to these cult members and ask them to have a vision outside the cult is an impossibility. So whenever someone suggests go to these cult members and hand it over to them, I don't believe that. They will never, ever, they don't have, and it doesn't require a lot of imagination. When these cult members will never, ever think outside the cult. That's why it is required for people outside the cult to suggest, not to suggest, to create a situation where they will have no choice but to either participate or explain why they are not participating. But to go to them and say, here is the vision that we have worked on for 25 years, take it over, they're not going to pay attention to that. These are hardcore cult members in Israel. And in my opinion, to suggest to go to them is really asking for the destruction of this idea. Heather?
Yeah, I mean, maybe Mr. Ali would be interested in providing some examples. Seems like it would help assuage.
Look, whether there are examples or no examples, I'm not here to chase examples. Okay? I'm past that. 25 years, I'm not here. And what if there are no examples?
Oh, there's got to be plenty. I mean, I suspect someone with
Okay, then find them. This is not the job right now. The job is to have an election, not to chase examples.
Yeah, I hear you.
Okay?
Thanks, Joseph.
We've had that.
You've been around this block before. I get it. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, so if you want to chase examples, go ahead and do it. I'm sorry to be
No,
so
no,
blunt.
my initial question was I wanted to know if you had actually already had that done. I suspected that this has come up before, and maybe it had been a
Yeah.
base that was
Look,
already covered. That's all.
we had these elections done in 2012. They were not as sophisticated electronically, but we had over 900 parliament members running, Palestinians and Israelis. More Palestinians and Israelis. In November of, and we had a full page ad in the New York Times announcing this election. Not a single person, not a single journalist contacted us to find out what it's about. Look, even if we are a group of crazy people that put an ad in the New York Times, if I had put an ad that on December 1st, 2012, aliens are going to land from Mars, and if I put that in the full page ad in the New York Times, journalists would contact me to find out how crazy I am. Okay? So this is below the standard of aliens landing from Mars. So we have learned not to chase the media anymore. We have learned not to chase Israelis. The only people that are receptive to this are Palestinians. Some of them, not all, some. And in my opinion, they're the ones who are going to lead this because they are going to run. I know that because I'm in contact with them all the time. They're going to they're going to start running for parliament. And you know what will happen? Israelis will start joining. So I think this is the right time because, in my opinion, Israel is going to have devastating election. The question of a Jewish state is going to come up in this election. I'm not sure anyone will accept the election results. I don't think there will be a smooth transition of power after this election results. Palestinians are going to have an election, the same issue they have. And this thing makes total sense. You notice that all the critics have not said a single word, not a single word about the Constitution, not a single word about the substance of the Constitution. The only thing is, mostly it's about me. Not a single word about the Constitution. Rob, you have a comment to make?
Yeah, no, thanks, Joseph. I wanted to just come back and echo what Libby you said, and just the level of support and respect that we have for you. And I know you've been around the block for a long, long time on this. And I'm just wondering, I think sometimes when there's comments, I'm not sure that they're necessarily criticizing what we're trying to achieve and do. I think it's helpful to, and actually, for example, we had the wonderful idea about the social media, and it's not that it's against what we want to do now. I think you're absolutely right. Now's the time. We've got to leap ahead with this. But I don't think, just to put your heart at rest, I don't know what others think, but I haven't seen a lot of criticism about the concept, about the Constitution, about what we're doing. What I have seen is saying, well, hang on a second, we need to do this. We need to make sure of such and such. So I feel very positive. I feel positive that that the ideas that come up in these discussions are actually good ideas. That in itself indicates to me that there's an expansion of understanding and of support. And if somebody comes along and says that it's important to get some local understanding or local support, you've got the experience. You've been doing this for a long time, Joseph, and it's helpful to understand that and understand what we've been through. But it's also good to bring people along and hear the ideas that they have. And I think all of those will help us to make it a huge success.
Yeah, thank
I
you.
agree with you, Rob. I agree with what Rob says. People want to give advice. It's not necessarily criticism. What George was saying was not meant to be criticism at all. It was meant to be useful advice, to be discussed. That's all. It was certainly in very good faith. I agree with Rob. Joseph, what about opinion polls? Have they been done in Israel on the IPC or in Palestine?
Olivia, 99% of the people in Palestine and Israel don't know about this.
Yeah, I know. They'd have to be informed before.
They
before
don't
being
know
polled.
about
I
this.
understand. Sure. I understand.
You don't conduct opinion poll about something you don't know about.
That's quite true. But the person who mentioned social media, that's absolutely essential. Anyone running a teeny weeny sweetie shop will tell you that they won't do good business unless they get on social media to promote their teeny weeny sweetie shop. This is just part of life nowadays. It's essential. It's absolutely essential. Social media.
Look, I think that, let me tell you, there are no experts on this. Not a single expert. No democracy was created the way we are trying to do it. It hasn't been done. If someone tells you it's going to happen, including me, I don't know. If someone says it's not going to happen, he or she doesn't know. Okay? We don't really know. I know one thing is if you build it, they will come. Okay? This is the motto that I go by. I have seen many things in my life that have been built, and thinking to myself, if someone suggested that to me, I would never have supported that. But I am amazed to see that they have come. So you need to build it. You need to do your best efforts, and they will come. In my opinion, they will come. Palestinians and Israelis will come. I can't tell you how much support I get from the Palestinian community. I went through, last time I went through in Israel and in Palestine, in the Palestinian community. I went to a laundry shop. Went to a laundry shop to wash my laundry. Just the first time into that laundry shop. And the person who ran the laundry shop was a Palestinian. The moment he saw me, he said, "I have such good feeling towards you." I was amazed. That was his words. "I have such good feeling towards you." And I noticed that the Palestinians I mean, I get a lot of comments on WhatsApp and on do it, move it, you know. Some from Israelis too. Israelis are telling me, many Israelis are telling me that their country is a lunatic country, that they need another vision. Some Israelis tell me that. Heather.
Someone mentioned Ilan Pape in the chat. Has he ever been contacted in regard to the IPC?
Many times. Many times I've contacted Ilan Pape. They don't want to come on.
Not even Ilan Pape? Yeah.
Especially not Ilan Pape.
We had Shlomo Sand. We had Shlomo Sand. I mean, he's very well-known historian. He was very pleased. He was offended because a nasty person was offensive towards him, and he was very offended. But he's a very important historian. We had Gideon Levy. I mean,
Gideon Levy came in, but
we had great people, Joseph.
Look, there is a difference between being anti-Israel, wanting Israel to collapse, and coming up with a vision for peace. There is a huge difference. Okay? A lot of these people that are anti-Israel, a lot of Jews that are anti-Israel, are waiting for Israel to collapse, and they are not interested in any vision for what to do if Israel collapses or before Israel collapses. They're just not interested in that discussion. In my opinion, Ilan Pape is one of them. Gideon Levy is one of them. Finkelstein is one of them, in my opinion.
These are all my heroes, Joseph.
Yes, they are your heroes.
They're my heroes.
Yes, they are your heroes because they are exposing Zionism.
Yes.
Okay.
And
I agree with the way they are exposing. I agree with their accuracy in exposing Zionism.
And their activism. Okay. Their hard work.
Yes. But not a single one of them propose a vision for peace. Not a single one of them. You can be critical all you want, and you can be accurately critical. But if you do not, and I am critical of Zionism, I'm anti-Zionist. But to be critical by itself is not enough. For me, the journey was opposite. I was a Zionist. I came to the conclusion that there has to be a solution. And when I started this organization, and I saw the Israelis being so closed-minded, I started examining Zionism, and I examined the whole thing. I became anti-Zionist. It wasn't that I was anti-Zionist going into a solution. It was a solution becoming anti-Zionist. Because I realized how dangerous Zionism is to the Jewish people, to the Palestinian people, that it doesn't make sense as an ideology.
You know, it's easy to be against something, but to work for something takes time, creativity, hopefulness, money. That's why a lot of people don't step on doing this because they say, oh my God, it's too overwhelming. How I wouldn't know where to begin. But see, that's the thing. You have shown how to begin. And so we don't want to waste time arguing with people who say it won't work, it can't work, I'm against it, they're bad people. This is to work for a solution that works for everybody. If we don't have a solution that works for the whole constituency, it's going to be a failure every time. That's why I think this is the moment, because people are desperate, people are dying, people are worried about the future, they're worried about the climate, they're worried about more wars expanding. No, we have to focus on what is possible. And it means cooperation, creativity, working together, engaging people, inviting people. There are lots of grassroots organizations. Combatants for Peace has thousands of participants. It's hard to imagine they wouldn't be supportive of this and help find excellent candidates. So I know here in the Bay Area,
I agree with you, Libby.
in the Bay Area, there are a lot of groups who don't like what's going on, and they're trying to come together and figure out how we in the United States can be supportive and make a difference, and not be against something, but be for something.
All right, guys, I enjoyed the conversation. Thank you so much. Hopefully you'll come to our next simulation. We'll have another meeting where we'll have more progress with the what's going on for the election.
You take care, Joseph, and don't be depressed, okay? Don't be depressed. I won't let you.
No. All right. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you,
You take
Thank you, Olivia. Thank you,
Enjoy your
Libby,
grandchildren.
Alan, everyone.
See you soon.